So welcome. This is the second Blab that we've been running about the mindfulness, success, presence, communication, all the fun stuff. And let's be right up front. We're running this for about half an hour. We're giving you a bit of information, and also we're going to be promoting at the end. We're running a workshop coming up shortly that we'd love for you to check out and possibly come along to. So I reckon, I know I've been thinking in preparation for making this all happen, I have been thinking about how we've hit the start of the new year. We've all been quite relaxed. And then we're coming into the new year, and straight away we have all these ideas and what's going to happen now and what can we do next, and here we go. So, Therese, I'm going to go straight to you because you are our mindfulness legend, and I don't use that term lightly. Therese, how do you still your mind when you've got all this stuff going on, and it's just like, how do you focus on the next thing to do? And sometimes it happens first thing in the morning, you wake up and you look at your to-do list and you almost straight away just go, oh, God, I better get a coffee. So how do you still your mind? What are some of the techniques that we can use to really remain present and actually get stuff done?
And from someone who doesn't drink caffeine, I can probably speak about how you don't herbal tea. I know a lot of people do need their caffeine, don't they? That Kickstarter to I think that is to try and rev the body because the mind's revving anyway, and it sort of makes them feel like they're a little bit more in sync, but it's still on fast go. And I think it's really interesting because first thing in the morning is when our cortisol levels are at our highest. It's when we release that stress hormone into our system, so it's naturally high anyway. And if we lay in bed and wait and then we go, shit, I've got to get out of bed and fly, then we're catching our tail the whole day. So it is about having a slower start to the morning. That's the best thing you can do. Getting up earlier is the best thing you can do, which a lot of people don't really want to hear. It's really interesting. I was listening to something the other day and they said the hardest thing you have to do all day is get out of bed. That's the hardest thing. And once you can manage that, you can take on anything for the rest of the day.
So how early is early? You're saying get out of bed earlier. Like, my wife would happily get out of bed at the crack of noon every day. So how early is early?
Yeah, I used to be like that. I'm now very much an early riser now. So now I have a natural alarm clock that wakes me up in my own head at about 5:30. But on holidays, it's been 6:30, 7 o'clock. I've been getting up and having a walk on the beach.
Outrageous.
I know. But really, if you want to do something for your mind, for your body, and just to slow it down, even 10 minutes earlier. 10 minutes earlier than what you're naturally getting up, and just take that 10 minutes slowly.
So is there any routines or habits you should do? I know some people will meditate, others do daily writing, some people there's a ritual around making the herbal tea, decanting the flavors, pouring the water, plunging the thing. Is that kind of thing something that's going to help you be present? What sort of things can we do to help us be mindful as we start the day?
Yeah, for me it is about meditation. I do some meditation, I do some mindful walking or some mindful movements. I very much focus on me here. But I think it doesn't really matter what you do actually, so long as you're very present when you do it, that you're aware of what you're doing, that you're in tune with your senses, that you are smelling that tea or that coffee brewing and not just waiting for it to happen so you can move on to the next thing. So that you do feel your feet on the floor, that you do actually feel the air on your skin, and you do know what time of day it is, whether it is 40 degrees like it is in Melbourne today, or whether it's 4 degrees. It's not judging it whether it's a good or a bad day. It's just this is what I am in at this very moment. So I think that being aware of it, but also not judging it as good or bad, that helps that 10 minutes just go, okay, I can manage.
Yeah, great.
I'm so distracted and sleepy in the morning. The number of times that I have almost sliced my banana into my coffee is more than more than it should be.
But you're a performer, right? So you're out late at night at gigs and that kind of stuff. So there's got to be something around the whole there needs to be, and as Therese said, it's like getting up 10 minutes earlier than what you usually do. So for you, if you're out until 1 o'clock in the morning, doing a gig, you might not get up until 9 o'clock. So what Therese is basically saying, get up at 10 to 9 to just gather yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I definitely think that's right.
So would that help Zerafina, like with her slicing the banana into the coffee, which I've got to say, that's one of the more eccentric early morning rituals, slice the banana into the coffee. That 10 minutes is going to help her focus, yeah?
I don't know if that's partly distraction and thinking, okay, what have I got to do next? And I think that's a great example of not being mindful, particularly if I'm kind of, part of my brain's going, must be slicing banana into something. Another part of it's not registering.
That's the autopilot stuff, isn't it? You've got to be slicing your banana, but where it goes.
Into something. Yeah. Oh, no, not the coffee, not the precious coffee. Yeah.
That's great. So that's a good start to sort of get your wits together and get focused and get on with the job.
Can I ask on that, what do you, as a banana slicer, what do you suggest in being mindful? Because I know so many mornings I wake up and I love an upper. I love being awake. I love coffee. But there are so many mornings that I wake up and I think, what, I race. I think, I've got to do this, this, and this, and it's not a very present or calm kind of thing to do.
Yeah, it does take practice, I think, more than anything else. And I think that's what people really reject against. They, rebel against. They don't like this idea of, I've got to practice this, so I've got to do it again. Why isn't it just happening naturally? Which is really quite bizarre because we practice everything else. We learn how to drive a car. We don't just get in and drive. We learn how to do that. We even learn to tie up our shoelaces. We learn everything in life. But it's really funny how we suddenly think when we want to change a habit, it should happen really quickly.
Yeah.
And it's just habit changing. And habit changing, there's a lot of research on habit changing. And one of the things that's really good about habit changing is don't give yourself a choice. So if I have a choice to do this or not, I'll probably choose not to do it. So it's about the commitment process, committing yourself into it. That's why a lot of habits happen easily if you invite someone else to come along or you commit yourself to other people and things like that. So, telling people that this is what you're doing adds a bit of authenticity to commitment. So if you tell somebody you're getting up at that hour or you're doing this first thing in the morning, you hear yourself, if you're not doing it, know, oh, hang on, I'm not being quite authentic here. So you actually start to train yourself to, because our body and our minds like to be authentic. They don't like to be inauthentic.
And I like what you were saying before about don't judge yourself. This is not, and I know Therese is very strong on don't should on yourself. Like I should be doing this, I should be doing that. So it's that, what I call the 3 A's, the awareness, acceptance, and then action. So you have awareness of like, okay, so I, take a while to get out of bed or I take a while to get started. It's not good or bad, it just is. So have that acceptance and then, as Therese says, have a plan in place and then follow it. And again, I love what you're saying about don't think about it. I hate to exercise, but I put it in my diary. And when it comes up, I say to my personal trainer, I don't think about it because if I think about it, I won't do it. I have more excuses than I do reasons as to why to do it. It's a Thursday. I've got a bone in my leg. There's too much air outside. Whatever. I will come up with a reason as to why I don't need to exercise. Yet if I start to think about it, I won't do it. So I just don't think. It's that thinking less really helps.
Oh, without a doubt. Our thoughts are the biggest thing that bring us undone.
Yeah, which is funny because, our thoughts we can change just in a blink of an eye, and it's something we have so much power over, yet we sort of succumb to them. And one of the things that we think about is there's a lot of people I know who say, oh, I'm not good at networking. I'm not a networker. Zerafina, as our presence guru, how networking, you and I have had a bit of a chat about it. And so what are some of the things, because most of us are either in business, run a business, or even if we're not in business, we have other social activities, we're going to go to a different events. And the last thing that a lot of people want to do is go up and talk to a complete stranger about light and fluffy stuff. And they barely even want to shake hands because they're like, oh, my handshake's a bit of a dead fish and they'll be too strong and da-da-da. So what are some of the presence things you can do to be a better networker and start that networking process?
I think one of the things is to think about it always being about, look, I met someone who was at a networking event, and there are a few things that weren't working, which I can go into. But what was so great about what she did is that, and I wrote a blog about it because I was so impressed. It was Inika, because I spoke to her afterwards. I said, can I write about this? Because you're so wonderful at this. Is imagine you were the host of a party. She was really wonderful at making people feel comfortable and said, have you people met each other? And the other thing is that I noticed quite naturally she was a bit of a delight detective. And I think that's something that's really important to look out for, is to notice that it's about making other people feel uncomfortable, about making other people feel comfortable, but we notice our own discomfort and to just notice that that's normal. I write about this and I coach this, so I should, you would assume that I never feel uncomfortable, but I really do, because it's quite confronting, because you think, well, is this person going to like me? My friends like me, people who know me like me, but I think there's that real fear of rejection. Social rejection is actually really huge. We even, some of the studies reflect that even if people don't make eye contact with us in certain situations, we experience a feeling of being ostracized very quickly. So we're sensitive creatures. But I think kind of noticing that that's going to be part of it, noticing I'm going to go to this event and I'm going to feel some kind of discomfort. And I love having a goal so when I coach performers, I think, okay, you've got to focus on one thing for this performance, and it's going to be engaging your audience, or you're going to be looking at your audience, making sure you're panning through and watching, or make sure they're using your body, but to have one goal. And I think if your one goal can be to find out something that delights somebody about what they do, to really look out for those cues about what makes somebody light up. Because I was listening to something Barb Friedrichsen, who's big in the positive psychology movement, was talking about, saying negative experiences stand out for us much more. But the thing about positive experiences is we tend to have more of them, but often we don't notice them. We have many experiences of love or joy or good experiences, but some of them are ordinary. Like one of the positive identified positive emotions is engagement. So, but we are often engaged by things, and so we think, oh yeah, that's not a big deal. But I stubbed my toe and I'm really going to notice that, or somebody cut me off in traffic. So thinking about what is it that's going to, when I'm talking to somebody, what's making them happy? Am I noticing are their eyes sparkling? Is their body language open? Are they, and sometimes I get sort of onto I've really got to find something, particularly if I'm feeling uncomfortable, I don't know people, I think, right, I'm going to find the friendliest looking person in the room and find something that really lights them up.
So it's interesting what you say, sorry, Warwick, about the mind noticing the positive stuff, because that there's a phrase that we use in positive psych that the mind is it's Teflon to good things that happen to us, but it's Velcro to bad things that happen to us.
Yeah, which totally makes sense. From a survival perspective, our ancestors were noticing the butterflies and not the dangerous saber-toothed tiger just didn't make it through. But but I liked that there was a specific goal about really noticing, and I was thinking about that, maybe I can make that part of the breakfast thing of really noticing the smell and noticing the enjoyment of those things, and knowing that that's a positive experience rather than just kind of going into that, I've got so many things to do today. Not that I ever think that.
If I can take us back to when we're talking about the networking thing, and you talked about, engaging and sparkling and finding a common thing. But how do you start it? Like you said, I'm going to look for the friendliest person in the room, and that's going to make it a bit easier for me. But you just go up, stick your hand out and go, hi, I'm Warwick? Or is there, some key phrases you can, because because there's some people like, I don't want the piddly little conversations. I want to go deep and heavy straight away, which, can scare others off. So from a networking point of view, what's a really easy way to just, in a very safe way, start a conversation?
I think just being present, standing somewhere, and look, and some people aren't friendly and aren't open to being spoken to. They're kind of like, I've got enough people that I know, thank you very much. And that can be really uncomfortable when you're on the other side of that. But I think that I love a bit of small talk as something to enter you into a conversation of, something about the food or something. I think of them as kind of social touches. We're just kind of, like dogs smell each other's bums. It's kind of like we're going, are you okay to talk with? And usually, and this is the important thing about first impressions, and it's kind of funny because there are some things that are very easy, but, if the first thing out of your mouth is 100% of what somebody knows about you. So I was at an event and this woman was complaining about the ATM, she was complaining to the bar staff, and 100% of what I knew of that person was a complaint. But, if you can talk about the coffee or how did you get to be here today or something that's really neutral, then you can, if you're not into small talk and you're brave and you're up for it, then you can say, what's your big goal for the year? What was the most exciting thing you did over the Christmas break? Then you can go, yeah.
And then sniff their bum.
I recommend.
Hey, you were the one who said it.
I think even a dog would be surprised if you did that to a dog.
Yeah. Excellent. Hey, one of the things that I wanted to, because we're only going to be going for half an hour today, so only got about 9 minutes to go. One of the things that I wanted to talk about today, and as many of you who are watching this and as you two ladies know, the lovely David Bowie passed away a couple of days ago. And there's a lot of stuff out there on social media about him and stuff, and he's a legend of the industry. But it's very interesting. There's a lot more posts going out there. Oh, no, it's too soon and all its legends are dying and whatever. But I was born in 1968, so it makes me 47. So therefore, all of these people who were artistic icons when I was growing up are now going to die. And it's funny how people still deny that people are going to die. And what I liked about David Bowie was he didn't give a shit about what other people thought about his art. And he did a whole lot of different things, and he tried different sexualities and different looks and different characters. And he wasn't afraid to live. And that's one of the things that I loved about him. And so if nothing else, I would suggest that the passing of David Bowie become a point of don't be afraid to live, because there are so many people who don't do things, who aren't they're too scared. They just stick with the norm versus like, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try a new hobby. I'm going to try a new technique. So in part of preparing for 2016 and kicking it off to be all that it can be, I would suggest to people, it's like, look for something different. What's that thing you've always wanted to do? There was some great stuff I saw recently about a woman who wanted to learn how to play a musical instrument and was told that, as an adult, that's too hard. Shot some video of herself when she started, and 2 years later shot some video of herself playing, and she's fantastic. So there will be different challenges depending on what age bracket you are and whatever your circumstances are, and different people have different levels of money to finance whatever they choose to do. But my whole thing is, and when it coming into 2016, people want it to be a successful year, yet they don't understand what success is. And trying the different stuff is just so important. So, Therese, what's one of the fabulous things you're going to try this year?
Well, I'm trying a lot of fabulous things. I know. A lot of fabulous things already. Just this Blab forum's a new thing for me. So there's a whole lot of I constantly hopefully, but we can sit in safety, can't we? Because we do want we either want it to be perfect straight away, or we're frightened of failing. And we can want that. I suppose in mindfulness terms, and especially in acceptance and commitment therapy terms, it is the perfect time. It is the right time for David Bowie to go, because that's just what it is. You can't, there's no such thing. And if we continue to judge stuff like that, we're always going to be uneasy or disappointed or whatever. So you're right. You've got to, there's that thing about living life like you are going to die, because, newsflash, we are all going to die. But it's not living like it doesn't matter and I'm going to die. It's not throwing it away. It's living like it has purpose because I'm going to die. And that's a really big thing. So I think for me, it is about testing the waters in new areas, doing things like this. Very much, I don't do a lot of goal setting because of the mindfulness stuff, but it doesn't mean I don't have goals. It just means I don't cling to them, that if they aren't successful, I've failed. So I tend to look at what's going to challenge me, So technology challenges me, and I'm being open to it this year.
Zerafina, you were going to say something. What's your thoughts?
Well, okay, a couple of things. One of them is and I plan to write about it, but one of them is that I noticed from the David Bowie exhibition there were some things about David Bowie's career that were useful for all of us. And one of them is collaboration. He had an enormous number of collaborators. So we look at this one person, and it's kind of like Madonna. There's a team of people around who are, so David Bowie worked with fashion designers, he worked with people in different types of theatre. The surprise to me was that he had a background in mime. And I know for me, when I studied contemporary dance, I kind of got to the end of it and went, man, I can't even busk with this. Like, even as a musician, I can busk on a street corner, but contemporary dance is just not cut out for busking. I'll be put away, but but I followed a passion. I thought, I don't know where this is going to lead. And it's interesting how it's come together with all the other things that I've done that are actually really practical and give you a particular view on the world. And I think his mime led him to being a great performer. Because you'd look at mime, it's the kind of thing, if you said to your parents, Mum, Dad, I'm going to study mime, you would kind of go, what for? Yeah. But if you've got that, if your interest is stimulated by something, if you're thinking, I don't know if I can do it. And I think having the courage to suck. I've told a lot of people that my first adult contemporary dance class, I kind of crashed into people coming the other direction, and I couldn't remember what came after the first move or what the first move was, or, those kinds of things. And the second class I went to, the teacher said to me, "You're back," which maybe not the most encouraging feedback I've had from a teacher, but I thought, I was very upset. I make light of it now, but I was very upset. But I kind of went, damn it, I really need this class more than anybody else does, because I really suck at this. So if I can even get just a little bit better at this thing, then that will make my world richer. If I can get just a little bit better, and then I got a little bit better again, a little bit better again.
Do you think, Zerafina, that thing about mime with David Bowie also enabled him, because, this is your forte, but that communication, that, because to communicate through mime is an amazing ability, and I think that helped him all the way through communicate everything he was trying to do. Most people got, even if they thought it was weird, they still got it. He had an amazing ability to communicate what he was trying to do.
Yes. And probably a sense of staging, a sense of use of space, a whole. And in theatre, you have to collaborate with others too. So there'd be a whole lot of things that you get. Yes, yeah, and also that sense. The thing that I love about the arts that I find in the corporate world, sometimes somebody's had a personality test. Oh, and I just wish they hadn't, because then they become married to, I've been told I'm an introvert, and it's like, okay, amen, Reverend a day. Yeah, exactly. And the thing that I love about David Bowie's career is he showed that there's an enormous fluidity of self. He went from a whole bunch of different things. So, he went from Ziggy Stardust to the thin white duke of those beautifully tailored suits and the 40s look, that you're not actually tied to being one individual, one being. And that there can be a sense of playfulness. And maybe with that networking question before, when I'm going out, I'm going to put on my party self, not just my party dress, and that probably helps, but, something that you think is fun, but but to let yourself be a different version of yourself.
Cool. Hey, ladies, thank you for your time today. We're going to call it quits here because our time is up. And but it's some great points that you raise in terms of having a whole help people help you be successful. So the three of us, the lovely Therese, Zerafina, and my good self, would like to help you be successful. We're running a 2-day retreat down at Phillip Island, and we would love to have you join us. Head over to warwickmerry.com/2016 kickstart. Kick off. So warwickmerry.com/2016 kickoff, and you'll find out all the details. We're going to be talking and doing exercises around mindfulness, presence, communication, success, values, vision, creating some stuff to make 2016 incredibly awesome for you. Hey, what we're going to do, though, as a special bonus, if you book your spot by, let's say, it's the 13th today, 14th, 15th, 16th, if you book by midnight on Saturday the 16th, we will give you one of these. That's right, shoppers. Get more business success. We've got 12 different CDs here which talk about innovation, creativity, image, PR, technology to help your business and help you succeed in business, and whether you own the business or an employee of the business. So that sells for just under $600. That will be your bonus if you book by Saturday, 16th of January, whatever that Saturday is, by midnight. We would love to have you along. Hey, ladies, thank you for joining us, Therese and Zerafina. I look forward to seeing you down on Phillip Island on the last weekend in January.
Stay cool.
Beach.
See you then. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.